We're starting our video podcast today on the Shambles, which is the oldest medieval street, best preserved medieval street in Europe. Many of the storefronts date back to the 14th and 15th century. The shopkeepers take pride in keeping up the original aesthetic. This street won the award for most picturesque street in York, and so many of the shopkeepers like to boast that of their storefronts, and it also draws tourists. So what makes this a medieval street? Some giveaways are these buildings that are kind of wonky shape. There weren't building codes, so they just kind of built things on top of another thing, which creates the famous shelves that we see in the buildings. The word shambles is an Anglo-Saxon word, comes from an Anglo-Saxon word shamel, meaning shelves. So here we come to the most famous center of the street with these overhanging rooms, because rent was charged based on the size of the first floor. So you could build outwards and upwards, but the first floor had to stay reasonably small. In the Middle Ages, this was also a butcher and meat trading street. So as we see here with the guttered or cobbled streets, they also have a gutter, which is where human and animal waste was washed away from the streets and its occupants. Another sign of a medieval street is the old wood structures. They didn't have nails, glue, or anything else, so they were only able to use wood fitting with wood pegs. So here we are with some of that structure here. Some of the original wood facade that has probably been upkept over the years, but stayed as true to the original aesthetic as possible. Here we are with more wood pegs right here. Very cool. Another interesting thing about this street is that it was mentioned in the Doomsday Book by William the Conqueror in 1037. Here we are with some shelves, the overhanging rooms. When this was used as a butchery, there was no glass in the windows, so the wares hung from the windows. The window shapes themselves. Buyers could see the wares hanging inside and choose that way. Halfway down the street here, we see a shrine for Margaret Cutthrow. She was the wife of a butcher. She was also a secret Catholic after the faith transition here in England. She was pressed between two stones to death for harboring Catholic priests and being a secret Catholic herself. This street was used as a butcher meat trade street up until the 1800s. We know this because documentation exists for 26 butchers that still traded on this street up until then. In a more modern context, this street was used for filming in the Harry Potter series for Diagon Alley. So many of the storefronts here are attracted to tourists, especially Harry Potter fans like myself. And here we are at the end of the street looking back. Yet again with this window right here, you get to see kind of that wonky shape. No building codes. And no medieval street is complete without its accompanying church.